Hello folks, welcome to GingerLion's Agrarian Skies modded Minecraft Let's Play. I'm up to episode 26 and I wanted to show you a couple of things I changed since last time. I added some dark glass around the various rednet ports here. That was to decrease the amount of light that was getting inside here. I also added a spawner, as you can see, port a spawner in the center, filled with endermen. Now, I also went ahead, I showed you guys this last time, having built this, but I changed out what creature it was in there. And if you can tell, I put in the wither skeletons from the nether. Basically, now that I have the armor that I'm wearing, wandering into the nether and capturing a wither skeleton, was relatively easy. So basically what I did, I made myself this beheading sword. It's mostly made out of obsidian with a manual blade. And then every time I had an opportunity, I either added looting or beheading. So that's why the chance of beheading is up to 40%, and it's got looting 3. So I get more stuff. I've automatically got this system set to filter out the coal, the bones, any of that sort of thing, and I'm basically just collecting what's left over. If you'll note, I got 1 heart from here. That's really the only reason I'm continuing to let this run. I have more necrotic bones than I have any need of, and more wither skeleton skulls than I have any need of, and so I could shut this off right now, but I'm hoping that this automatic process will continue to get me that. Oh, looks like my brain in a jar. Yep, he filled up completely. I'm going to have to use up some of this experience soon. Nevertheless, oh, and I wanted to show you how to make that brain in a jar. So this recipe right here, it was a relatively simple infusion crafting, and it basically sucks up experience and allows me to just whack the jar and, get all the experience out of it. So, let me just, what was... Oh, yeah, never mind. Sorry. Got distracted for a minute. And I was just coming over here to put down a sound muffler, because this thing makes a good bit of noise. I'm actually going to put this over here. There. That'll muffle the sound of them spawning, and this muffles the sound of them dying. That's good. For your reference, when you capture a wither skeleton, it classifies as a subclass of skeleton, so the little safari net is going to only list skeleton, and you have to set it on exact copy yes. I also, if you'll notice, the staircase is a little bit off from what it used to be. I had to raise this 1 more level for their tall 3-level high heads. So, what am I going to do this episode? Well, I think this episode I'm going to do a little bit of exploring and a little bit of mining. Now that I'm capable of exploring, now that I feel like I can handle whatever I come across in the nether, it seems perfectly reasonable to me to spend my time doing that. So, I'm going to rip this out, let this empty out completely. Now it's just a buffer for the system. I'm going to come over here. I have 2 red hearts, so and now I have the necrotic bones, so I would like to make this. That means I need these. I will never need that many. And let's see how many I do need. 7, so I need 7 jeweled apples. There's 7 of those. And so now I have enough to make, when I get red hearts, I have enough to make the rest of these. And there's 5 more hearts. Oh, hey. It looks like I have somewhere in this neighborhood some darkness that I better fix. So, let's see where it is. Make sure F7 is turned on. Actually, right now I'm not sure if it is or isn't. I can find out real quick. Let's come over here. Yep, now it is turned on. For sure. Let's go find our spot of darkness. Not back around here. It's on the stairs. That makes sense. So interesting. Also, as you see, I have a winter biome right over here. I might take advantage of this. Either way, it's good to know. I wonder if there are any other spots that I've missed or messed up. By the way, the haste jump ability is a great advantage, but it's also a little bit of a risk because you can run right over one tall levels and fall. Which is why I should make sure that I keep this on my hotbar at all times. I'm also going to shut off my sword, just so I don't waste blood. So, I'm going to collect a couple of things, and then I'll come back and we'll go to the nether and have ourselves a little bit of fun. Hello folks, so here I am in the nether, and if you can't tell by my inventory, I've decided it's time to do a little bit of mining. So let's see, I want to make sure that the area that I mine doesn't include my little base here. So let's start over here, and I'm going to use my flight potion if I have to, but mostly I'm just going to spend a while digging up and jumping up and killing whatever I have to make that happen. Oh, hey look, I came out on the surface. Looks like I'm gonna need flight. So, there we go. Now, why isn't my map showing? There we are, much better. Showing my little nether home as marked on the map. That pleases me. Let's go up here. Block breaking isn't too slow while I'm flying, so I'm just going to do it this way. This way, if I run into anything unpleasant, it's just going to fall. Well, there's bedrock. Now, I'm pretty sure bedrock is not just plain smooth here, but there's my hole, and in fact, I'm going to, so that I know where it is, I'm going to plug it up with a fence. Now, let me carve out a little space. Map marker. Adding a marker right here. Quarry. It's going to be in the nether group. And, to make it very easy to get back here, I am going to bind this waypoint to the nether quarry. Toss it in my warp book, and anytime I want to, I can come back here. So, I'm going to go off camera, and I'm going to dig a huge amount of space out, and then I'm going to lay out my fences, and I'll be back once I have some way of showing what I've got done. So I wanted to show you how far I decided to go. I decided to go that far. It's about 240 blocks or so. So now I'm going to dig this out. Well, actually, here, let me just show you how far it is. You can tell how fast I'm moving. You can see it going on the map up there. But it makes a lot more emotional impact when you know that that is the length of the corridor I just cut. So here's 240. And way back down at this end, where I started. Come on. Yep. Long hallway, huh? Yeah. I'm going to fill it with fences soon. Is 447. So, I am going to cut the other paths. As you see now, my inventory is completely full of netherrack. That's fine. If I find something valuable, I'll pick it up and delete the netherrack. Otherwise, I'm fine. See you guys in a couple minutes. So I've made it to corner 2, but I had to warp home once because right here at corner 2, if you can't tell by all the holes in the walls and everything else, I ran into a pretty major hellfish nest and had to fight them off. So I'm afraid, yep, see, as soon as I start swinging at the walls, I'm going to run into a couple of them, and because there are lots more around, they just keep attacking. So I'm basically being persistent, and I brought this milk, so I thought this was how I cleared my potion effects, but looks like this is a mariculture bottle of milk as opposed to the other kind. I may have myself a little bit of a problem where it comes to milk, because I was hoping to use milk to clear the negative status effects that these guys produce. I mean, I can always just warp home and become safe, and I'm definitely killing lots of them, but there are lots of them to kill. Whoa. Yeah. This is why I invested in this armor. This exact situation. Yeah, and the game is lagging out pretty good now, so I'm going to hit number 4 and head home. Whew. So there you guys go. That's about what it's like to run into a horde in the nether. I mean, I got myself some interesting books. I guess nothing really interesting. Let me sort this out. Delete the Invar armor. Delete those books. I really don't care about X-Nilo seeds. Stones, I mean. And I am currently slowness because I'm hungry. This is a common side effect of doing massive battle. So, there you go. Now you have some idea what it's like to fight your way through a horde of hellfish. Luckily, I am extraordinarily well equipped for it. I don't know what I'll do with boats, but sure. So, I'm going to do that a couple of times, and I'll be back. So, I made it through them. How did I do it? Well, I was a little bit cheap. Basically, I ran to this corner, and then I started mining this direction and ignored them. And turned out that I only had to go through about 10 more. However, while I was over there, I noticed this, and I have no idea what it is. So I'm promising you, before this episode is over, I'm going to take a flight potion and go figure out what that is. But first, I'm going to finish my quarry. So, let me draw the last line. There you go, folks. All 4 of those lines drawn. Like so. That's a pretty significant size block. So, I am going to use my workbook, head back home, dump off what's in my inventory, pick up a huge number of fences, which I no longer need to, I no longer need my inventory for all this netherrack and whatever else I'm picking up. Oh, I also, while I was at it, I wanted to show you how I solved the milk problem. What I did, I set up the fluid crafter to say one milk bucket plus one glass bottle crafts one milk bottle, and that makes the right milk bottles. So now I can ask my AE system for them, and it gives them. So I'm going to go lay down a whole bunch of fences, and I'll meet you back here in a minute. So, I think I have accurately completed the fence line with a bit of fence left over. So, now let's head home and pick up the next set of tools that we need to get this process running. I want a tesseract and my quarry. And let's head back to the nether, to my quarry. Having this as a bookmarked spot for permanent return is such a wonderful thing. So we start by putting the quarry in place and right-clicking on it. Fence boundary stops at. Well, looks like I'm going to have to go do a little bit of troubleshooting, folks. I'll be back. So, I headed down that way quite a ways and got myself this, found one spot. And when I hit this, it gave me fence boundary complete. So, there was no other places that I have to do. The only other thing that I need to do to get this going is to connect this. Let's see, you are send only on items, blocked on fluids, energy mode receive, main sludge active. 13 block scan, 21 block scan, it is validly mining. So, we have finished that, and I guess the next thing I have to do is to go do that exploration. So, I'm going to take this potion, get some flight going, and go find out what that thing was. Let me make sure. Nope, I drank the wrong potion. Oops. Glad I didn't just jump down this hole. Check my flight. I got it just under 20 minutes, which is going to guaranteed be more than enough. Okay. Down. If I had fallen, I would have been okay, because there's no lava. Well, frankly, I don't take fall damage, and I'm immune to all of the above, so it's kind of irrelevant. Lava wouldn't have hurt me, gas wouldn't have hurt me, the fall wouldn't have hurt me, and I'm pretty much okay either way. So, let's see if we can figure out what this unusual structure is. That's bloodwood. Maybe it's a bloodwood tree. I'm going to go down and see if it continues to show on the map at lower elevations. It does. Let's see if there's a way in. Doesn't look like there is. I don't see any. Maybe this hidden cave. Certainly heads in the right direction. Nope. Okay then. Well, I want to know what this is, and I'm willing to pay for it, as it were. So, there's my pick. Still have plenty of flight. Up we go. I don't really care if I run into any of them. Aha, so there's an area up here. That still doesn't get me in. Zoom in so I can see where I'm talking about. There's that bloodwood tree, so I'm going up. A little bit of sulfur. Didn't really need it, but I'm not going to complain about it. Okay, there's bedrock, so it's not there, so it's got to be down. I don't really care if I fall into lava or some similar thing. I should live through just about anything at this point. That's annoying, but a little bit of netherrack in its place, and that lava will stop flowing into here, and I can go down some more. Well, I officially have now gone from bedrock to bedrock inside of this square, and absolutely nothing shows up. So, I have absolutely no clue what it is, and I guess I'm going to have to live with that. So, there is my first bit of nether exploration. I'm going to take just a couple minutes and reconnoiter, and I'll be back when I have something more interesting to show you. Well, I haven't found anything particularly interesting. However, I did head back to my base and pick up my air sigil. So I decided that rather than continuing to waste my flight potion, that I would do this. It's nice to be able to travel around the nether like this. You just sort of pick a destination and fire toward it. It's not very accurate, so you gotta, judge your landing places and try several times sometimes. I also wanted to show you this. It's kind of cool. That is what my quarry has done so far. You'll notice that there's dirt here on the ground and up there at the ceiling. That's all the blocks that have been replaced by the quarry. I've already got a couple of, at least amber ore, which I had never gotten through the use of the laser. So, yeah, look, exploring the nether like this is very interesting. It means you don't really have to worry about mobs too much, because you can run away from them, besides the fact that I'm wearing some pretty tough armor. And you just sort of got to wait for landscape to spawn in and decide where you want to go and right-click your way there. I'm sure I'm using up... Nope, I'm not even using up enough essence by doing this for it to show on my network using the mob farm that I've got going. So, and the nether's full of all sorts of interesting stuff, but the moment I'm collecting the resources that I want in an automated way, and so I don't really feel the need to go mining. And, I mean, I've explored a fortress or two. Nothing really interesting in there. Anything up here? This is kind of cool. But, yes. So, perhaps the nether will not be as much fun to explore now. Now that there's no monster fear, and now that there's no falling or lava fear, or fire fear, wandering around the nether is a pretty easy process. Oop. Let's see what's... Oh, followed that to the end. Okay. Well, so I guess now it's time to head home and see the results of our quarrying. There we go. So let's see. We're clearly getting in netherrack much faster than any of the systems that I'm using can do it. There's some nether amber ore there that I didn't have before. Lots of quartz. Yep, looks like nether amber ore is the only ore. No bearing stones of any kinds. I've got more than enough diamonds to move forward. What's my redstone look like? I've got 13,000 redstone. I'm sure I can start the processing of that massive storage device. What was it? It was the Terra. That was the one. 16M storage. Craft. Get that processing again. I don't see any of those flickering, but let me look down here. Looks like my automatic crafting is stuck again. Go flip that switch. So, I'm going to do a little bit of preparation for a couple of quest hand-ins, and I'll be back once I have some quests to hand in and some new things to work toward. See you in a minute. Okay, folks, so I decided that what I was going to do for the moment was work on the fishing quest. Let me show you that. It's in culinary and it's surf and turf. This is going to require 1,000 pieces of fish. If you recall, I tried to do this earlier with tofu, but it didn't work. So I've decided I'm going to have to do some fishing. I'm setting myself up a little bit of fishing pond, and I thought some of you who don't have a lot of experience with water dynamics might like to see this. I did the first level this way, and I'm about to do the second level. So what you do if you want to make a still pool of water is, you know the trick about putting water along one edge. Actually, I don't know that you do. Let me make sure by erasing everything I've got right now and starting over. Just a second. Bink, bink. I know that water dynamics are not a common thing for people to actually know about in Minecraft, and a couple of my friends have actually asked recently because they noticed that I've got a little bit of experience at how to do this. Note, this is a lot harder to do in non-square pools. Rectangular pools work, but any other shapes get a little weird. So, what you do, I usually start with 3 buckets. You can do it with 2. You place a bucket of water, and then 2 blocks away on the same level, place another bucket of water. And 2 blocks away, you place another. What this does is it creates water source blocks. Whenever there are 2 water source blocks with a gap in between them, it fills them. And we're about to exploit that dynamic a little more obviously. So we finish one wall, and then we start another wall in an L shape. And I like to do it far away. You can do it close, but it looks more dynamic this way. It's more impressive. So this is how I tend to do it. So let me collect buckets of water. Again, these are source blocks, so you can just pick them up. And because there's a source block on either side, just like an infinite pool of water, it will refill. Now, watch what happens when I place this bucket right here. Because this is L-shaped, once there's a water source block against this and against this, this becomes a valid location with 2 water source blocks around it, and it fills. Which means that this whole line fills and this whole line fills, and then on such. That's how you create a nice, clean, still pool of water with no currents in it and no issues. You basically have to build it from the ground up and fill it layer by layer. As you go. So, thought that was kind of interesting. And now I'm going to try to do myself just a little bit of fishing. Not sure if it's going to work. I'm probably going to do most of this off camera because, well, I understand that fishing is awfully boring to watch. It's kind of boring to do, too. There we go. There's a fish. So, I'm going to do this for a little while, folks, and I'll be back once I have enough fish for the next stage of this process. Okay, so I decided that I'm going to speed this process up a little by moving to mariculture fishing. Mariculture fishing, now I'm a pretty novice at it, but it involves using the right bait with a fishing rod, and you can fish up useful fish. So, let me get the extra stuff out of my inventory, and I think I have the... No, I don't have the sifter in there. I must have it in my collection of things not in the ME system. There it is, mariculture sifter. Now, I think for the moment, the first thing that I'm going to toss through it is a stack of dirt. I'm pretty sure that will get me all the bait I need for my first little process here. So that you all know the goal that I'm headed for, I would like to build myself an automatic fisher. This requires 2 wooden fishing rods from mariculture and a raw fish, which are made from polished sticks, not just normal sticks. Polished sticks are made by tossing a stick in a vat of fish oil with 5 buckets of fish oil in it. Now, let me check something. So that's That's for one of them. I would get 4. Mm, 8. I would get 8 for the polished log, which only costs 6 times as much fish oil. So it would be much better for me to be able to get enough fish to actually complete out the polished logs instead of polished sticks. But that's going to require quite a lot of fish. So let's start by laying out our sifter right over here, somewhere that we can get to easily. And let's just throw this stack of dirt in. Now, the rod that I'm using can use ant bait, and I think that's mostly what I'm getting out of this. I've got ant and bait worms. Can I use bait worms with my current reed fishing rod? I cannot. I could use raw fish, but I don't intend to use this fishing rod for all that long, so this is going to work just fine. Now, you're about to see me possibly be a little bit clumsy. Those of you who've done mariculture fishing before will know better than I how to do this. Now, I know that you can eat these. I have no intention of doing that. And you can fish with them. So let's see if I can... It doesn't seem to have used up either of the baits. Oh, it did. It used up the one to the left. So, just like normal fishing... Nope. So, here we are. This is clearly how you use a mariculture fishing rod, and I'm going to do the usual, like, waiting for fishing to work thing. And I'll be back once I have a couple more fish. Okay, folks, so I came to some conclusions while I was standing there fishing. Tends to happen while you're sitting there contemplating. One of the conclusions I came to was this. The drop rate of the fish that I need for my sandwiches from mariculture is extremely low. I only got one, and then I used vanilla fishing rod, and I got a bunch. So I don't think that I'm going to go through all the work of working with mariculture fish right now. Instead, what I'm going to do is use the MFR fisher. So that's going to be my go-to, and for the moment, I think what I'm going to do is set up a chest and toss all these fish in it, just in case I do decide to get involved in mariculture fishing later. One of these, and that will be a lot easier because it doesn't require any more fishing to get my MFR fishing process started. I want these. I can drop this back in there, and all is well. Okay, actually I'm going to drop the mariculture fishing rod in there too. And the vanilla fishing rod. And this last squid that I missed somehow. Okay, so upstairs. And I'm going to need to teach my system how to make the fisher, because I intend to make a bunch of them. So, let's start with, I'm pretty sure it has all of the things necessary, but I don't know if it knows how to make a bucket. Let's remove all the empty buckets. No, it does not. So we can teach it how to make a bucket, and we can teach it how to make a fishing rod by getting a stick. Only has one stick in the system. Let's fix that. And auto-crafting is clearly stuck again. I'm really looking forward to being able to turn off my ME-based sorting system over there, but I've made a little bit of a decision. I've decided that I'm going to go through all of the gravel. I went through all the dust I had, and I'm working my way through all the gravel that I had because I have very little use for, I had 60k gravel. I have no use for that kind of gravel. If at all. So, there was no quests for it or anything. So, stick. And there we are. Enough sticks. Good. So, I'm going to teach this how to make this. And then the subcomponents of that are necessary are the bucket. And I'm just going to do it. No, I'm going to do it out of aluminum. I think I have a huge amount of aluminum. Plenty, yes. And I have a whole bunch of blocks of aluminum too. So I could work from that. So let's make an aluminum bucket. Code. And the vanilla fishing rod. And then I'm just going to make sure that all of the sticks are Minecraft sticks 280 in code. And I should be able to now generate MFR fishers simply by asking for them. So that page is full. This page has 2 spots on it. Haven't yet filled up my auto crafter. That's good. So now, let me see how many I want. 7, 14... I'm going to ask for 20. And that's so much faster than otherwise, than hand building them. I would also like my conduits, and I'm going to need to make some more conduits. And it's been a long time since I've had to, because I made a big batch last time, so I haven't taught my system. Conduits. I want that. I want 60 of those. Which, because we don't have almost any hardened glass. Do we have any? Yeah, we have thermal expansion hardened glass. What are we missing? Probably the electrum. I'm going to cancel this job. Yeah, we need electrum ingots. Let me fix that. I thought there was a vanilla recipe, but I guess I'm wrong. So, gold and silver in my induction furnace. Again, for automation purposes, one of the things I did do is put hoppers on either side of this so that I can just slap whatever it is that I need in here and let it just pour into the system. Actually, since I'm going that way, gold is the left, yep. Silver's the right. I will now have enough electrum. Now, let's go set up these auto fishers. What I would really like is for them to be just above the water level all the way around the outside of this pool. The outside specifically because I need to run power conduits to them. And they need to be 1 block above the water for them to operate. And, unfortunately, I didn't even bring any torches with me. Okay, I'm going to put a conduit down there and place it against it. Okay. Now, I have 6. I would need 1 more for the next row. Might as well start it and ask my system to build one. It's nice to be immune to drowning. Actually, I just realized something. That I have a more compact way of laying this out. So, I want 15 more, please. I would like my crescent hammer back, which I had taken out to make room for fishes. I would like those 60 conduits already. Good. I'm going to toss them in here. And what are the uses? How much? I need 120 redstone. There we go. Now, back to what I was doing. I want to pick these back up. Sometimes my haste works underwater, sometimes it doesn't. I have yet to actually figure out what the triggering element is, but now I can get up out of the water and get the last stack. Pink and there. That ought to produce enough fish to finish that quest relatively quickly. It's only going to take 1,000 fish. So, I still have not adapted to the haste. It's going to take me just a little while. And I guess I could use an arbor inhibitor and turn it off, but I don't know, I went through all the work to getting it. It seems just a little silly to just turn it off immediately. I'm going to, yeah, just to make this, I don't know, easier, I'm going to put a conduit right there and remove this block. And then put a conduit down here. Dig out these two. And I'm going to be digging some obsidian, folks, and making a couple more conduits. So I'm going to disappear while I do this, and I'll be back once the whole system is set up to see how well it's working. Okay, folks, so I'd like you to notice that, see all those fish sitting above those fissures? Those literally just pop out of the top of the auto fissures as soon as they have power. And I decided that for me, the easiest way to collect them all is going to be by use of vacuum hoppers. So I'm just going to put a vacuum hopper here, and I'm going to tell it that it exports to the top. And, oop. Then I need to put my import bus on the top of it and set it to stacks. That way, however many fish end up here, they immediately go in there. And since I don't want to carry these in my inventory right now, I'll get rid of those and get out of the way and let this process occur. So, for any of you who wish to do that quest, there's a relatively quick primer on how to do it, and apparently the mariculture stuff was just an FYI. So, I'll be back once I have a couple of quests ready to hand in. Ooh, better eat before I die. Another advantage of these systems that I have set up down here, when I need to do something like make a bunch of hardened glass, I can come in here, open up this chest, toss in all the obsidian that I'd like, and it'll automatically get fed into these pulverizers and turned into pulverized obsidian. Admittedly, it will slightly slow up my other ores processing while that goes, but that's just fine. The system rarely uses more than 2 pulverizers at a time, so it's just going to sit and idle. So, just wanted to show you that trick. Be back. Okay, folks, so I've decided that my target for today is to complete the rest of the quests here in Hell's Kitchen. What that means is I need about 5,000 more lettuce. I need to be able to make 10,000 aged juice, and you already saw me working on the surf and turf. So, what is the aged juice recipe about? Well, that's about making vinegar. The vinegar is made with any of the juices except carrot juice, and a pot. Unfortunately, if it was carrot juice, it would be awfully easy for me, but it doesn't work. So the two that I'm targeting, because I have a good number of them, are apple juice. I can make apple juice. And cactus fruit juice. So I have almost 2,000 of these saguaro fruits, and almost 6,000 of these, which means I'm 2,000 short. So I decided my methodology for doing that was to set up a little bit of an apple orchard, and then I set up a couple of autonomous activators. And all these are set up to have bone meal put into them, so they're basically full of bone meal, and they just consistently right-click on those apples, which causes them to two bone meal, and they become an apple, and then a right-click and they get dropped. So I just set up 5 autonomous activators up here of bone mealing apples. So I am going to wait for the fish to finish, which we're almost at already. Then I'm going to shut those down because I don't need any more fish than that. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time with my Sigil of the Green Grove over here near one of my lettuce farms, hoping that that'll encourage a bunch more lettuce to grow. And I'll be back once I have the requisite items for this turn-in. Okay, folks, so it's time for me to start kicking my system into gear and making all these things. So, what do I need? First, I need leafy fish sandwiches, and I need 1,000 of them. Good, so that's ticking away. Next, I need to teach the system how to make vinegar. And that's from whatever juices I'm going to produce and a pot. But maybe I should make the juices first. Oh, it looks like I made too many apples. Wasn't paying much attention while I was busy working on my working on lettuce production. So where's that recipe? Apple juice, just a juicer and an apple. I think I'm going to make a couple more juicers just to make sure that when this process is running that it doesn't get interrupted by anything. Yeah, and by the way, I did move all of this stuff downstairs. It seems a little bit better. I'm trying to remove things off the deck up there because I want to recover that space and do something useful with it. Also, set up a little bit of a trick over here. I think you guys will like it. When you export, I've said this before, if you export directly to the QDS out of your ME system, it's not going to get the number of items right by maybe as much as 20%. Not acceptable to me. So, of course, I'm exporting them to a chest, and then I'm using an item duct to transfer them over. But there's a neat trick. If you have a QDS that's bound to a task, it outputs a redstone signal. And if you use a comparator, you can feed that into an item duct and power the item duct with it. If I remove this, didn't need to remove the comparator. Place the comparator like this, and then when you put down the QDS, Nothing. Until you select a task. In this case, I'm going to use Surf and Turf as my task, and bind it to the QDS. Immediately there's a redstone signal, and it'll begin pulling whatever it is out of there. So, the system seems to be hung up. I don't know what's wrong, but I'm going to actually work on... I already did that, didn't I? Yep, got to clear that recipe. And now I want... Put these back in here, make another juicer. Need pressure plates. And that'll make me 5 juicers. Now I know I don't have to worry about the system slowing down while making apple juice. So I would like you to craft me 10,000 of those, please. Get on it. Clearly it's hung up. Let me flip that switch. And then flip it back. Perhaps there is more in my system that's not working. Well, let me set up the vinegar recipe before I go any further, and then I'll go troubleshoot it off camera. So, vinegar is a pot and an apple juice. Has my system managed to produce even a single apple juice yet? Nope, I'm going to have to craft it by hand. Okay, so now, a pot and an apple juice. I'll encode that, and I'll be back in just a minute, folks. Sorry about that, folks. My apartment complex's lawn crew does a really good job, but that's not a job you can do quietly. So, we have our leafy fish sandwiches done. We have our vinegar done. And we have enough lettuce to do the job. Now, I want to tell you about a trick that I was just using. You can actually see the setup for it here. If you want to manufacture a lot of things, especially like, for example, a lot of identical things, it's often nice to... Let me show you. You grab an apple and toss it in here, and you grab a juicer and toss it in here. You can then right-click to get a stack. If you shift-click on this, it'll dump a stack into your inventory. So what you do is you go shift, click, 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 get a whole inventory full, open up a chest, drop it in. And I've got that chest set on a precision import bus, pulling stacks. It can pull stacks of things almost as fast as you can make them. The reason I don't do that is because I can't shift-click an entire group of things into the ME system. So that allowed me to get through the vinegar creation process very quickly. Now, we're going to start with the leafy fish sandwich. Obviously, I want to move stacks. Toss this one in, and it's going to dump all of those leafy fish sandwiches in here, and 100% completed on that quest. Now, I'm not going to get the quest hand in yet. Instead, what I'm going to do is back out, grab myself the aged juice quest, select it, and bind that to the QDS. Go over here, make sure that's got nothing, and set it for vinegar. That's going to take just a little bit longer, but as you see, it's ticking up at just about 1% a minute, so it's only going to be another couple seconds for that to complete. Now, actually, while that's occurring, let's go back and grab the reward for Surf and Turf. I think I'll take this reward bag, and there we go. Amusingly, it gives you a fisher and a titanium fishing rod, which, interestingly enough, I think I probably could have made, but I don't have any particular need for it right now. I might, if I ever move into mariculture fishing, but For the moment, that's beyond my needs. Now, oops, don't want to climb in the middle. 2 valid hearts, yep, 64, and an epic and a legendary quest reward bag. The epic gives me Hoe of Growth, Axe of the Stream, Pickaxe of the Core, and Thermostatic Harness. Good tools. And the legendary, wow, 5 stacks of Pyrotheum dust is actually quite valuable for me to have. So, that's actually pretty wonderful. Is there anything else that I need to drop off in here? Yeah, the fisher, I don't need. I'm going to toss those up into my upper inventory and sort it so that there's no organization problems. Okay, and there is our vinegar quest done. You'll notice it looks like I made 4 bottles too much vinegar, and they didn't get wasted. Now, if I had just left this on, automatically pull out, it would have dumped them into the QDS and they would have been deleted. They get erased from the world, even if the QDS isn't bound to anything. So, this process is much more efficient. This way you don't waste too many materials. So now I'm going to bind Leafy. This one's going to take a little while. Okay. So, I may have just messed up and... Yep, I lost all my vinegar because I didn't think straight. This was still set to export vinegar, so it filled this with vinegar, and as soon as I bound the QDS, it sucked it out. So, there's a waste of vinegar. This is clearly going to take just a little longer. So let's go accept the crust reward for aged juice. Is that a valid heart? Yep, an epic quest reward bag, and a strong box with shimmer leaves, cinder pearls, and ethereal blooms. Wow, that's pretty amazing. And our reward bag is magical wood and an enchantment table. That's actually pretty useful. The magical wood is an extra utilities block that is... Actually, I want to give you the recipe for it. It's made out of enchanted books and bookshelves. It acts as multiple bookshelves when placed around an enchanting table. And it can be used in the process of making the Ender Core, or the Advanced Filing Cabinet, or the Golden Bag of Holding, which is... I don't even know what reincarnating one does on a golden bag of holding. I assume it drops it back in my inventory after I die. This is the most interesting one of those because it's used to make the Ender Quarry, which is a pretty wonderful thing. It also is an upgraded form of magical wood and boosts nearby enchanting tables by 20 levels. So if you place 2 of these Ender Cores at an enchanting table, it would have maxed out the capability and then some. So where are we at? 35%. Let me look and see if there are other hoarding quests, perhaps, that I'm going to be able to hand in relatively easily. I don't think I have anywhere near 100,000 wood. No. I think that next episode I'm going to be able to hand in 100 quadruple compressed dirt. Let me actually just see here. 100 of those is... No, I'm nowhere near that. That's 600,000 dirt, and I have 89,000 dirt, so nowhere near that. I'm going to do this Endstone quest next episode. Let me just show you how that gets done. If you want to make Endstone, the recipe for it is to dump 250 millibuckets into some sandstone in a fluid transposer, or dump a 50 millibuckets onto some obsidian. So what I'm going to do is set up an export bus to export obsidian into a liquid casting basin. I'm going to set up an input filter on the bottom that is going to filter out obsidian, and then I'm going to dump a huge number of ender pearls in and get myself that end stone. So that's an item for the next episode. How are we doing over here? 68%. Let's just do a quick sort through. Is there anything else? Oh, Neptune's Cloud Fantasy. Now that I have the air sigil and the armor and my warp book, I think next episode, I'm going to go get myself 100 cloud and turn that one in. Let's see, is there anything else? Let's just look at Go With The Flow. And I got that one done. Let me go check how close we are to 100 and... what is that? That's 16,000 buckets. 1.6k. Let me just collect my fluid monitor and see where I'm at. Nope. Nowhere near. I'm going to have to amp that process for that to occur. Well, that's a little frustrating. I don't like killing animals. It doesn't make me happy. 90%. Any more that are... toss these in here. Let me actually put this down and loot these out. Drop them in here. And then I can pick the strong box back up. And... no, I've been putting those in my... nope, they used to be there. Putting them in here. I do like these boots of these haste. I'm still getting used to them, but they're really nice. Alright, and there we go. Leafy greens completed. Let's go ahead and grab our quest reward for that. Hell's Kitchen. All quests completed. 1 reward bag and another hoe of growth. Full heart. Nice. And the reward bag is epic in nature. Nether redstone ore. That's nice. I had almost run out of redstone recently, and that will greatly improve my redstone situation. Yep, just tossing them in the pulverizers over here, bypassing the automatic process for a manual one. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Come back next time where I'm going to hand in a couple of more quests, and I might do just a little bit more blood magic. So, I'll see you guys next episode.